This Christmas, my daughter-in-law said, "Carol, we're spending Christmas elsewhere this year. You should just stay home." So I did the one thing she never expected. When I shared a single picture from my trip, my entire world turned upside down. Everyone was asking the very same thing. Who was the stranger standing beside me in that photo? My name is Carol, and this is the story of how I reclaimed my life. Before we begin, if stories of second chances speak to you, consider subscribing to this channel. For most of my 68 years, my universe was this house. My husband James and I built a life inside these walls. Since he passed, the silence has been my most constant companion. My son, Michael, and his wife Charlotte were my entire family. Every holiday, I'd arrive with my famous apple crumble, gifts for the grandkids, and a heart full of hope. It was my anchor. But this year, the air felt different. The phone calls became shorter, the visits more rushed. I told myself not to cling, to be the easygoing grandmother. Then, one chilly afternoon, Charlotte called. Her tone was polite, yet utterly final. "Carol, it's simpler this year. We're all going to my mother's. You should just have a quiet one at home." I felt the floor drop away. "I understand," I whispered, my voice thin. After I hung up, the ticking of the hall clock was the only sound. I looked at the festive garlands I'd hung, the stockings waiting to be filled. They were just decorations for an audience that wouldn't arrive. That night, with a cup of tea, I opened our old albums. Pictures of Michael as a boy, James with his proud smile. A single tear fell. "It's just 1 year," I said to the empty room. But the truth was far heavier. The next morning, Michael called. I could hear the guilt tangled in his words. "Mom, you're not upset, are you? It's only for this Christmas." I gave him the answer he needed. "Of course not, dear. I'll be perfectly fine." But as I looked out at the snow-blanketed street, watching families play, a profound loneliness settled over me. I was an observer in my own neighborhood. That evening, by the firelight, a memory of James surfaced, clear as day. He'd always say, "You spend your life nurturing others, Carol. When will it be your turn?" A spark ignited within me. What if this wasn't an ending, but a beginning? What if I stopped waiting for an invitation to live? The following days were a hollow echo. I baked treats with no one to eat them. I tried to watch cheerful holiday films, but the perfect families on screen only magnified my isolation. It felt like the world had a party, and I hadn't been sent the address. Another brief call from Michael, hurried and distracted, sealed it. I heard Charlotte in the background, and the line went dead. Holding the silent phone, I understood. His love was still there, but his attention had moved on. Later, searching for storage space, I found it. Our old travel suitcase, covered in a fine layer of dust. It held the echoes of that one glorious trip to Italy we'd saved a decade for. I ran my fingers over the leather, hearing James's voice. "The world is vast, my love. You just need the courage to explore it." That night, I couldn't sleep. An idea, both terrifying and exhilarating, took root. The next day, with a determined heart, I opened my laptop. "Solo Christmas tours for seniors," I typed. The screen bloomed with images of alpine villages and festive markets. One tour, through the heart of the Swiss Alps, departed in just 2 days. My pulse quickened. This was madness. This was brilliance. I filled the forms, my fingers trembling slightly, and clicked, "Confirm booking." A wide, unstoppable smile spread across my face. For the first time in years, I was making a choice just for me. Packing was a surreal joy. I folded warm sweaters and tucked James's old journal into the bag. I told no one. This was my secret, my rebellion. At the airport, surrounded by joyful chaos, I took a steadying breath. This was my path now. On the plane, I found my window seat. The man in the aisle seat had gentle eyes and a warm smile. "Traveling for business or pleasure?" he asked. "For myself," I answered, surprising us both. He introduced himself as Robert, a retired architect. As the aircraft soared above the clouds, we talked. We shared stories of lost partners, of children grown, of the quiet that follows a busy life. He listened, truly listened. By the time we landed, I felt a connection I hadn't known I was missing. Stepping into the crisp alpine air, I understood. I was told to stay in my small corner of the world, but I had chosen to discover a much larger one. The tour was a dream of snowy peaks and charming villages. Our group was a collection of souls seeking something new. We explored festive markets, sipped warm drinks, and shared laughter. Robert was often nearby, his presence a quiet comfort. We spoke of books, of history, of the small joys we'd overlooked. During a group dinner with a stunning mountain view, he raised his glass. To new journeys, he said. I met his toast, and to unexpected companions. Walking back that night, the snow falling around us, I felt the weight of the past months simply lift away. I was no longer waiting for life to happen. I was living it. The next morning, a text from Michael lit up my phone. "Thinking of you, Mom. Everyone misses you." I looked at the majestic scene before me, took a photo, and sent it with the message. "Merry Christmas from the Alps. It's breathtaking here." The typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. I smiled, sliding my phone back into my pocket. Later, Robert found me at a market stall and offered a warm pastry. "You looked like you could use this," he said with a kind smile. We talked for what felt like hours. That evening, the group gathered to sing carols under a starlit sky. Robert stood close, and for a fleeting moment, his hand brushed mine. My heart, long still, fluttered. It wasn't about replacing a love, but about rediscovering the capacity for it. Back in my room, I scrolled through my photos. One stood out, Robert and I laughing by a towering pine tree. Almost without thinking, I posted it online. The caption read, "Sometimes you find your joy off the beaten path." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Likes, comments, messages from old friends. Then, the family message arrived. Michael, "Mom, where are you? Who is that?" Charlotte, "You're traveling. You look so happy." I read them, then powered down my phone. I didn't need their permission to be happy anymore. I had granted it to myself. Christmas morning dawned bright and clear. The notifications on my phone piled up, but the peace in my heart was louder. Michael's messages were a mix of confusion and concern. At our group's gift exchange, Robert handed me a small, wrapped box. Inside was a beautiful crystal star. "To light your way," he explained softly. I was deeply moved. Over a quiet dinner that night, he leaned forward. "Carol, can I share something?" I nodded. "I knew your James a long time ago. Our brothers served together. He spoke of you often, said you were the strongest person he knew." My breath caught. The coincidence felt like a message from the universe. Robert smiled gently. "I think he'd be glad you're on this adventure." Tears welled in my eyes, but they were tears of healing. Love doesn't end. It simply finds new ways to reach us. Later, I finally called Michael. He was full of questions. "I'm in Switzerland, Michael, and I've never been better." There was a long pause. "We're sorry, Mom. We never should have made you feel alone." "I know," I said, my voice steady. "But I've learned that my happiness isn't something I wait for you to give me." When I returned home, the house felt different because I was different. A card from Michael and Charlotte was on the table. "We missed you. Please come over." It was a start. When they visited, the house was alive again. Charlotte apologized sincerely. "I was thoughtless, Carol. You are this family's heart." Michael looked at me, really looked. "You seem renewed, Mom." I showed them my pictures, and when we got to the one with Robert, Michael grinned. "Okay, who's the gentleman?" "A friend," I said, my smile saying more. Robert and I kept in touch, planning future trips. But the greatest journey was the one back to myself. That pain of being excluded hadn't broken me. It had freed me. The next Christmas, our home was full again, louder and warmer than before. As we toasted, Michael said, "To Mom, who taught us that joy is a choice you make for yourself." My heart was full. The journey had given me more than a story. It had given me my spirit back. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and follow Winds of Thought for more tales of courage and renewal.